morning everyone. So in this video lecture we are going to talk about filter method in Python. Okay, and as its name suggests, it filters, right? We are going to talk about filter method. It's a built-in method and it filters, right? So what does a filter do? Okay, a filter will extract something from some item, right? Some from something, right? And similarly, this method, filter method, will extract certain items or elements from a given iterable, right? Okay. So it will extract certain items or elements from a given iterable. Iterable, you understand, it could be a list, a tuple, or a dictionary, right? And this filtering is actually performed using a function. Okay, so filter method in itself will actually use another function to perform the filtering process. And why is that? It's because if we are performing filtering, so suppose you have a list and you want to extract, so suppose you have a list of numbers, and from this list of numbers you want to extract the numbers, maybe you want to extract even numbers, right? So you will create a function that will specifically do that. Okay, and I'll give you an example you are going to understand in a better way. I want to give you an example of, okay, let's see what I can come up with. So first of all, let me show you the syntax. Okay, I hope the definition of filter method is clear. You understand what filter method actually does. Filter method will filter. Okay, you have a list or a tuple or a dictionary, it's gonna filter. So it's gonna extract certain things. Okay, and obviously if you wanna extract something from, you will have a specific condition. Okay, this is a list of maybe numbers or strings, maybe numbers or names or whatever, and you want certain things from that list. So if you suppose have a list of, like I said, numbers, maybe you wanna have only odd numbers, okay, or maybe you wanna have only even numbers. So you can use filter method. So you are filtering the iterable. Okay, you are extracting certain things from the iterable. The syntax for filter method is filter. Filter would be the keyword, okay, because we are talking about a built-in method. And then we are going to provide a function, and this function is actually going to be user-defined function. Why? Because, like I said, filter will filter according to user's wish. So it's not like every user wants to have a list of numbers and extract even numbers. Okay, it could be that you have a list of maybe a name of states and you want to extract the name of certain states, right? So based on what user wants, this function is going to change. Okay, and I'll show you why filter is used for that. So this function will depend on the condition. What do you actually want to extract from the given iterable? Okay, and so this is the syntax, filter, and then for the parameters we have function, and here we will have iterable, okay, from where you wanna extract, right? And this function is actually run, this specific function is run on every element of iterable so that the condition can be checked. Okay, and whatever element fulfills that condition will be extracted from the iterable, and it is going to be the output of the filter function. Okay, and now what does it return? What will be returned? So what does it return? Filter method, what will it return? It will return filtered items, you can say, or in simple words, you can say it's going to return an iterator. And for those of you who don't know what an iterator is just like an iterable. So you can say that it is going to return an iterable, but you have to decide what that iterable is going to be like. Is it going to be a tuple or list? You will decide that. Okay. So I hope this brief introduction about filter helped you have a certain idea about this method. Now let's move on to an example. So the example that I'm going to take is, suppose you are given a list. Okay, so we'll start with the list. And suppose you are given a list of numbers and you need to find multiples of 3. Okay, and I'll show you why filter is used, why it is, what is its significance basically. So first of all, to use filter method, you need to have an iterable and you need to have a function. Okay, so let's create a function first, right? So what do we want? We want to extract multiples of 3. Now, how can you find multiples of 3 in a given list? If the given number, so what are multiples of 3? 3, 6, 9, 12, these are all multiples of 3, right? So if a given number, when you divide this number by 3, and if you perform the modulus, basically, if you remember, we had this modulus operator, right? If you perform this modulus and the output is 0, right? Meaning the remainder is 0. That means this number is multiple of 3, right? So we are going to use this approach and we are going to create a function. So user defined function that finds multiples of 3. So let's do that first. How do we do that? You can give any name. And here I'm going to take this parameter A. You will pass the list or tuple or whatever it is. You will pass the iterable basically to this function. And so we want that if A modulus 3 equals to 0, it should return true. Else it should return false. Okay, every time you're working with filter and you're going to create a function, you just need to have these few statements. Okay, so this is the simplest form, right? You created a function. Okay, this is what it's gonna do. Let's move on to the next thing. And we need to have an iterable. So first of all, I'm gonna take a list as an iterable. So let's say I've taken this list 1 and I'm gonna populate this list with a few numbers, 90, 30. Okay, and then I'm gonna take another variable result, because I told you that when you run this filter method, it's gonna return something, right? So, and what is it gonna return? It's gonna return filtered items or an iterator, right? And you don't know what that iterator is. You don't know what that iterable is, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a variable result here and I'll save the returned values, right, in this variable result. Okay, so filter, I'm gonna run the function now. So we have syntax here, filter, function and iterable. So what's the name of the function? It's called 3 multiples. And what's the name of iterable? It's list 1. Okay, so the function has been performed, the method has been run, filter method. Now result, let me check the result. Okay, so you see the address. Why? Because it's an iterator, right? It's an iterable. You don't really know what it exactly is. So what I want is, I want it to be, you can have it in the form of a tuple. You will use tuple method and write it like this. Okay, and you will have 6, 9, 90, 30 multiples of 3, right? You can have list also. Okay, you can write list also. Fine. So this is the result. Now, when you run this method, when you run filter method, what it actually does is, see, you don't really have to do anything here. You just need to have a function. So you had 3 multiples here, right? And once you have this function, you just need to have a parameter here. You don't really have to iterate over the items of this parameter, right? So you just need to use this parameter here, and that's all, right? And iterable is here, list 1 is here. So when you use filter method and you provide these two parameters here, what it does is, now filter is, I told you, it is a built-in method. So how is it going to work? That's already inside Python library, right? You don't have to be bothered about it. So when you use filter method and you use these two parameters, automatically this iterable and this function, you know, they have been, so when you're using filter method, this function is automatically going to iterate over all the items of this iterable. So that's none of your business, right? Filter is taking care of it. So that's one of the benefits of using filter. Now, secondly, it's a great way to filter items, to extract certain elements from given iterable, right? That's its second benefit. And another benefit, once you have defined this function, you only need to use this one statement. Okay, so first I had a list and I wanted to extract certain elements from it. Maybe next time I had a tuple, let's say D, okay, and it had completely different elements, 8, 9, right? And I want to extract multiples of 3 again. So I don't really have to write this function again. It's already there. Okay, you just need to create this function once. Now, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to use filter method. That is all I need to do. So I can change the variable. Maybe I will say res, and then I'm going to use filter. Obviously, I'm going to use the same function, but I'm going to change the iterable this time. Okay, and earlier I used tuple. This time I'm going to use list to show you the result. Okay, so 3 and 9, right? And similarly, you can use it with dictionaries also, and I'll show you how in the next video lecture. I really hope you understood the concept of filter, why it is used in Python, and how you can use it for different iterables, right? If you have any doubt, feel free to ask, and I'll see you in the next video lecture. Till then, take care.